very stressful though, like coming from my house to the office. Okay, when I leave my house, I have to walk, I don't know how many kilometers, but yeah, it's far. I have to walk down to the bus stop. Then when I get to the bus stop, it's like survival of the fittest. I have to like look for a bike. Looking for a bike, I'm not the only one though. People like school students that are trying to go to school, people that are trying to go to the market, like lots of people, one bike, 10 guys. So you just have to like also struggle, get a bike. That's from my house to like.
Aisha's story is true for many Nigerians who have to commute to work by public transportation. How the hassle to move around the city is even becoming worse with Nigeria's exploding population. And that's why this young entrepreneur created Oga Taxi.
So basically what we do as a company is the movement of people from point A to point B. Simply put, for us the idea is to simplify how people move around in Nigeria. And that's what we've always tried to do, just making people's movement a lot better with an application. So it's a simple system where, a potential passenger that wants to go from, say, Victoria Island in Lagos to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport picks up an Android phone or iOS phone, and you open the Oga Taxi app. You request a taxi. The driver picks up your request on their own driver-facing app, and the driver basically has the ability to call you, and you have the ability to call the driver. You can track the driver's ETA, estimated time of arrival, getting to you. You can see the driver's location in real time as they come towards you. Driver gets to you, picks you up, takes you to your destination. You do have the option as a passenger to pay either with cash or to pay with your Nigerian debit card or your international debit or credit card as well. And that's it. It's just a very, very simple way of moving from one point to another, enhanced with technology. My name is Loko Ame-Idoko, and I am the founder of Orga Taxi, also co-CEO of the company.
When Loko Idoko and Michael Nnamani abandoned their investments in agribusiness in 2015, their rivals were multinational top dogs Uber and Taxify. But these men were not intimidated and went on to found one of Nigeria's first e-hailing taxi services.
We basically, as the founders of the company, myself and Michael, my really good friend, we bootstrap from the beginning. We were self-funded. So it was myself and Michael that put money together. As two young guys, just wanted to do something legit, build a business in Nigeria and create employment for people. And that was how we started. So for a few years, we funded the company ourselves. Even when we were competing with the global giants, it was myself and Michael funding the business for a long period of time.
Like most startups, the first year was all about trial and error. Loko's first experiment was to convince taxi drivers to abandon their independent work on the road to adopt this new system, using a mobile app to get ride requests and paying a commission to the transport company.
So the first ever driver, I still remember his name, Mr. Ibokun. He was a driver at the time who worked as a car hire service operator in Lagos. And when I met him, in VI, at the time I was doing what I called the road recruitment. So I would go from one place to another in Lagos here. My targets were hotels where people heavily had car hire service at the time. And I was trying to educate this gentleman at the time that, look, you should forget about your car hire service where you can take a customer from VI to the airport for, say, at the time in Lagos, 4-5 years ago it was going for 7,000-8,000 naira. Some places, the big hotels, 15,000 naira, the hotel keeps a commission. And I was trying to explain to this gentleman that, look, you should let this go and make 4,000 naira. And they were looking at me like I was just insane. Like, why would we do that? So I had to explain to them the economies of scale, how you'll be able to do more trips. That at the end of the day is volume that counts. So the first time I met with Mr. Ibukun at the Intercontinental Hotel in VI, he was well exposed. So it made my life a lot easier for me. He was a young Nigerian who had lost his job. At the time he was working in the insurance industry. So he told me his story because he was well spoken, he was well behaved, really, really enlightened gentleman. And I connected with him immediately. And it was one of the things that actually got me even more motivated, that I was able to find somebody on the roadside with that much mental capacity to understand what I was trying to explain. And then he started helping me bully our way through other car hire drivers. And that really helped me, conquering VI. So VI was for me my first major hub of getting drivers. From him, I went to 10 other drivers, and 15 and 20 and hundreds, and then the thousands. And at that point, I was no longer on the road. Drivers were now coming because it was now word of mouth. Like, oh, you should actually try this. You can make money. And and today we are happy to have thousands of people on our platform, and just really earning a living and supporting families in the country.
To gain the love of the locals, Oga Taxi went back to the roots. They introduced an option to share rides with people commuting on the same axis, and were the first to do so in the country.
For long, we've had this system of what you call along in Nigeria. If you're not doing a drop back in the days where you have the money to take a full vehicle all by yourself, you would just join other people, and share a taxi. So we figured, why couldn't we do the same with an app? If we can make the consumers pay lesser, and still get to their destination, if people are going to a similar route, we should give it a try. And for us, what we did, because we knew people might be skeptical a little bit to just sharing a ride with some random person, we wanted to connect mutual friends using the social network. So the idea was for you to engage with these people on Facebook, your Facebook friends, your Instagram friends. That was the plan, that was the idea for that. So you kind of have an idea of the person you're pulling with, the person you're sharing a ride with. All you need to have is an email address and a phone number, an Android phone or an iOS Apple phone device. You go to the Apple Store or you go to the Android Play Store and you search Oga Taxi. You download the app. It asks you basic information to register. You put your basic information, phone number, email. You get an OTP, a one-time password sent to you for security purposes. You put that in, and you're in the app. The app gives you the option at that point to want to link a bank card, to make it even more easy for you to be cashless transaction. If you don't want to do that, you can always pay with cash. And all you need to do is, once you open the app, you see the drivers on the app, the very little car icons, on the app. And you click on request a ride. You put your destination, because the app automatically picks your current location, so you don't have to put that. So you pick your destination and you request a ride. The app tells you what the estimate will be, say between 2,000 to 2,600 naira as a fare. So it gives you an estimate, factoring in traffic. It could be a little more, it could be a little less than that, but it gives you a range of what your fare will be at the end of the day. You request, the closest driver picks your request and comes to you to pick you up to your destination.
Oga Taxi boasts of being one of the cheapest e-hailing services in Nigeria. Specifically, they claim to charge 25% less than their competition. So how then does this indigenous company manage to charge lesser and still stay afloat?
For us, what we've been able to do as a business, consistently, is to find the fine line, between keeping the customer happy and the driver happy. Where you see other companies do dynamic pricing or surge pricing. We don't do that. So when we tell you this is your estimate as a customer. And because of that, we've also been able to guarantee the drivers that we will not waver, in terms of what we charge. So some of the other companies will charge drivers, up to 25% commission, or charge customers, a little bit more because it's peak hour. So sometimes when you talk to drivers on those platforms that we share as well, they get really confused as to what they make because they're not sure. Today the price can be higher, tomorrow it can be. But for us, it's very fixed. So what we do is we've been able to reduce our commission for drivers. So what we take from drivers as a company is between 10 to 15%, for drivers. So that helps us to also adjust it evenly for customers by bringing down the fare for customers as well, as long as we take a little lower than our competition.
At the heart of Oga Taxi is customer service. Loco says he's passionate about delivering a smooth riding experience to passengers, and that's why they organize quarterly training for drivers on communications, conflict resolution, and safety.
The one thing that's different between Oga Taxi and the rest of the competition out there, it's our relationship with drivers. It's the one thing we hold supreme to every other company that exists in the industry today in Nigeria. If you talk to the drivers that run this business, it's very clear if you watch the news and if you're very familiar with the e-hailing business in Nigeria. We've had people protest most of these companies. There's never been a time that Oga Taxi has been in the news being protested by drivers. There's a reason for that, because they feel welcome. They feel like this is their own. The drivers have pride equity. It's the only indigenous ride-hailing app in the country that's still competing with the international bigwigs. And the drivers feel like this is our own, and they treat us like human beings. So for us as a company, that's the pride we have. That's the only thing we have. Every other thing is the same service, it's the same vehicle, it's the same drivers. But the driver of Orga Taxi will treat you as a customer a lot better than he will treat you in any other of the apps.
Williams UM signed up to Oga Taxi 2 years ago. I spoke to him to collaborate Loco's claim of a top-notch relationship between the company and drivers. And here's what he had to say.
The car I'm driving right now was actually financed by Oga Taxi. Yes, and no other e-hailing cab company has actually done that in the years to come and even previously. So with this, my colleagues who also benefited from the program, we have peace of mind now. We're able to, work when we want to, rest when we want to, with nobody chasing us, for partner payment. That has actually died down since we started our partnership with Oga Taxi.
But it's not been all rosy for the company. Loco admits that only a few people believe in his idea and were willing to invest in the business at the start.
When we started, people were looking at it like, what? You're not talking about real estate, you're not talking about, something we can physically see or touch. We can't invest money in the software. You don't even own the vehicles, you don't control the drivers. What are you talking about here? So it was difficult trying to convince high net worth individuals in Nigeria to put money, and it was difficult trying to get international investors as well to put money, because they were very worried about the country. The international investors sometimes are worried about the continent as a whole. So those are setbacks that we had. The biggest was funding, and then you have to deal with human capital, dealing with people that understand the vision of a founder to help you propel it to the next level.
They are based in Lagos and Abuja for now, but are looking to expand into more Nigerian cities through strategic partnerships. From that one driver in 2015, Oga Taxi now has over 6,000 drivers and are helping to get thousands of Nigerians to their destinations every day.